Welcome to Conversations. I'm Muqtadar Khan, your host, and today I'm going to give you an update about the state of the war in with Iran. There are many new developments and escalations, and I'm going to give you a briefing on that. And I also will talk to you about an article I wrote, and I will give you a lowdown about what is in that article, really. So, welcome to Conversations and Eid Mubarak to all of you. I think that the best way to celebrate Eid is to publish two articles in one day. So today I had two articles and I want to share them very briefly with you. If I remember, I will post the links in the video description. Otherwise, I will post them in the community post for the channels. So the first article that was published early this morning was in the Diplomat. The title is Silence Can Be an Epic Folly, a response to Shashi Tharoor. So Shashi Tharoor wrote an article in the Indian Express in which he defended the Modi government's silence on the Iran war in general. Modi has not condemned either the US or Israel for attacking Iran, which is a violation of international law. They did not express condolences until 5-6 days after the assassination of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. And so there are others, they kept quiet when the school was killed and over 170 young women and children were killed by an Israeli attack. And in India has kept quiet on many things, has been silent on the genocide in Gaza, and so on and so forth. So basically, a lot of people are being very critical of Prime Minister Modi, saying that the man is silent because he's afraid of Donald Trump, and so he has surrendered to Donald Trump and the Israelis. So Modi now, so now Mr. Shashi Tharoor, who should be the voice of the opposition, has now become the publicist for the ruling party and wrote a piece in the Indian Express saying that it is responsible statecraft. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like applying for a job. So I did a point by point rebuttal of Shashi Tharoor's article. You can take a look at it in the Diplomat. It says silence can be an epic folly. I'm punning on epic fury. And then I wrote an article which I will be talking about today. This was published in the afternoon in the Middle East Policy Council, a very prominent think tank and research institution in Washington, D.C. It is perhaps the most respected research institution here in the Washington, D.C., who publish a very important journal called Middle East Policy Journal. And the title of the article there is Gaming the Endgame, Possible Scenarios in the Iran War. So what I did in this article is basically I identified four possible war scenarios with Iran and also speculated or imagined what possible ends could take place. Uh, so this is an exercise in net assessment development. This is a very important exercise in strategy, etc. So these are the two articles that I will talk about that. But let me give you a little bit of an update of what has happened. Three or four very important things have happened. Number one is the Iranians claim that they have shot an F-35. They claim that they have shot it down. They shot down an Israeli F-35, but the Americans are saying no. You have hit an American F-35, which landed safely, and the pilot survived. And the Americans are claiming that basically the F-35 was damaged, and it'll be repaired soon. It's like the five jet fueling planes which were attacked in Saudi Arabia. Four had minor damage, one had serious damage, but four of them have been quickly repaired and they have got back into the action. So that is one development. The Iranians, after taking a battering for 20 days, still seem to have some anti-aircraft or air defense capability left, that they were able to hit one F-35. But the second thing that has happened, which is very significant, is that Iran, in retaliation to American and Israeli attacks on its PARs, its gas reserves, retaliated in a very aggressive and angry fashion, lashed out, and hit the gas supplies of Qatar, which are quite adjacent. And the city is called Ras Lafan. And it is reported that uh, they have damaged 17% of Qatari oil capacity or gas capacity. They have perpetrated when what Iran has done to Qatar has caused close to $20 billion a year loss, and it could take 3 to 5 years for it to basically repair all the damage that Iran has caused to Qatar. So it's going to lose 20 to 30 billion dollars a year for the next 3 to 5 years. So can you imagine the negative growth of Qatari GDP? Qatar is a very small country. I think Qatar's GDP is less than $250, I think, $1 billion. Qatar GDP for 2025 was $222 billion. So what they have done is destroyed 10% of Qatari GDP for the next 3 years. That's stunning. And if countries diversify Qatari clients, there's no guarantee that they will come back to Qatar 3 to 5 years from now. So this is one, I think, besides all the damage that Israel and America have done to Iran, I think this is perhaps the most damaging thing that Iran has done in this war. And the third interesting development, or worrying development, let's put it that way. I'm always thinking as an analyst, as a scholar, and sometimes I forget the human side of it, is this that the Department of Defense has requested $200 billion extra. They're asking for 20% of the annual defense budget. The amount of money that they expect to spend in this war is would be the third biggest budget in the world. It is more than double of India's entire military defense budget for 1 year. India spends about $80 billion a year. This is $200 billion is what the Department of Defense has acted. And I'm sure when the bill is eventually passed into Congress, you will see that a lot of that money, there will be a lot of it also going to Israel, because Israel is our boss. But anyway, what it also sort of signals that perhaps Donald Trump is going to do uh, uh, is going to double down on his stupidity of going to this war, and he's probably considering ground action in some way. Which means that he's probably thinking of capturing some cities. I don't know what the plan is. Why do they need so much money? So far, in the last 20 days, the United States has spent about $20 billion. So they are spending roughly $1 billion a day. So even if they fight for next 2 months, that will be only $60 billion. So the total will be just $80 billion for a war that lasts two months and 20 days. So why are they asking for $200 billion? Do they expect to be in action for like 6, 7 months? I find that very troubling. And I think everybody should be worried. The Republican Congress people seem to be very excited because this allows them to go ahead and pass certain bills under the cover of this particular request from the Department of Defense. They're not answering any questions about ground troops. They are saying we are keeping all options open and we are not going to signal what our intentions are. But asking for $200 billion is a very good signal that they are planning something big, and which means that American taxpayers are going to pay a heavy price, $220 billion for this war, and whatever we give to Israel afterwards to rebuild Israel and replenish its defense, and whatever, if it loses any jets, we will give it to them free, and so on and so forth. So you can expect like this wars could cost $300 billion. So these are the new developments that I wanted to share with you, besides the fact that Donald Trump, as it usual, put foot in his mouth and insulted the Japanese prime minister on her face. It was ridiculous when a reporter asked him uh, about the Strait of Hormuz. He said, "Look, we're not going to we're not going to ruin our surprise." Like he said, "Why didn't you share with Japan that you were going to attack Iran?" And he says, "No, we wanted it to be like a surprise, like you guys. Did you guys tell us before you attacked Pearl Harbor?" And so he went all the way back to 1940 when Japan attacked the United States and actually drew the US into World War II. It was really very bad diplomacy, harmful to his own cause. But anyway, so in this article that I wrote for the Middle East Policy Council, which is a very important think tank in the Middle East, I talk about what are the possible scenarios that we can anticipate. So I just put this in this metric. So there are like four possible scenarios. One is a scenario which we thought would happen, where Donald Trump would say, "We won," and he would take a political off ramp by a quick exit. So we thought this would happen after, say, 1 or 2 weeks, but he has not done that. But he can do this anytime. He could get up tomorrow morning and say, "Oh, we have destroyed the Iranian Navy, we have destroyed Iranian Air Force, Iran is not able to do anything. And so, you know what? We have declared victory and now we will leave." Now, what that does basically is leaves Iran's all of Iran's capabilities damaged, but still alive. The regime survives. The proxies survive, weakened, but yes, they survive. Uh, and uh, and Iran's ballistic missile stockpile, as well as capabilities, continue to survive. All of them will be damaged and weakened, and Iran would be a much weaker country. It already is a much weaker country than it was last month, but nevertheless, this would be much short of the total surrender that Donald Trump was saying would be his ultimate goal. The second scenario is that he continues to bombard Iran without sending ground troops, and this will continue to weaken Iran to a great extent. He could completely deindustrialize Iran, destroy all its industrial capabilities, electricity supplies, its oil reserves, and so on and so forth. So, what might happen is at the end of this incessant bombing, they are going to leave behind a very nasty regime which may not be able to threaten any of its neighbors, may not even have the capacity to hit its neighbors if the US continues to bomb them for 6, 7 months. They're dropping thousands of 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 pound bombs on Iran and its various infrastructure. Thousands of people are already dead in Iran, nearly 1,000 are dead in Lebanon. And so, what could happen is that thousands of Iranians will die. They're probably going to hate America and Israel more. All these people here in the United States who think that if Israel and America destroy Iran completely, make it like Afghanistan, completely underdeveloped, no electricity, no industrial capacity, constant black acid rain because of all the pollution, and the quality of life going down from upper middle income, where Iran is today at 4,000 plus per capita income, to down into low middle income or even lower income economy. But I speculate that without ground troops, they will not be able to dislodge the regime, and whatever remains, they may kill its leaders. But there are millions who are committed to the regime in various military forces, in Basij, in IRGC, the Army and Navy. And so it will be a much weaker Iran, but strong enough to hold on, and it will probably become a very militaristic and repressive at home. Something like what Egypt is today, a military dictatorship, is probably what you might see emerging in Iran. The third alternative is a regional war expansion, which is a scenario very much like where we are today. But the Saudis had a conference with the other countries of the region, and they are contemplating reacting and responding to Iranian attacks. So far, they have only played defense. So, if imagine if Saudi Air Force, UAE's Air Force, which has many F-35s, and the Qatari Air Force, I don't know whether the Bahrainis and the Omanis, but the Jordanians join this war on the side of Israel and start bombing and attacking Iran. What will then happen? So you will have a regional war, and the war as expansion could basically be war of all against all. It will have a huge impact on tourism and the oil. Already, what Iran has done has hugely impacted the oil industry. So let me give you a quick update on the oil. So At the moment, the Brent oil is at $106. It was 96 yesterday when we did a review. It's $106 now. By the way, for those of you who are watching from India, the Indian rupee has now hit a historical high. It just surpassed 94 rupees to the dollar. At the beginning of this war, it was around 89, 91, 92, around that. So it's dropped by more than 2 to 3%. And the same is happening to other countries. The Chinese are remaining stable, the Japanese are remaining. I actually will do a separate show on what is happening to the global currencies as a result of this. In fact, the bad news for Indians is that because of this war, the dollar has been falling down too. So the dollar has experienced some depreciation. Now, the Indian rupee is falling further and further below for the dollar. And while the dollar is going, so it's like a double fall for the Indian rupee. So they are suffering terribly as a result of that. And you will see that ultimately, if this war continues, like Donald Trump is asking for $200 billion, and if the war continues for a year or so, then I think the entire global economy will be in a recession, including the United States. Already today, while we were coming back from prayer, we were looking at gas prices, and it's gone over 370. And I remember filling our tank up, my wife's car's tank up before the war started. And here in Delaware, it was at $2.90 some cents per gallon. Now it is $3.70 per gallon. That's a pretty hike. So imagine 80 cents on 290, close to 30% increase in the price of gas. Now, the fourth option that I speculate in this article is ground invasion and occupation. Now, this, honestly, I think the Trump administration has to be completely mad, completely stupid and mad to take this option. Remember how the United States struggled to control Fallujah for like months and months and months. Thousands of American troops died in Iraq, and they could never achieve the political goals that they sought after several years of occupation and intense warfare and insurgency, etc. And Iran is like 4 times bigger than Iraq, both in population and size. The size of Iran is so huge, it is half the size of India, even though its population is less than 100 million, it's 92 million. So, in order to occupy Iran, the whole country, I think the United States will have to take 1 million or more troops there. I don't think the US has an army big enough to occupy all of Iran and subdue it by pressure. Of course, there are idiots and fools, crazy nutcases here in Washington who think that, oh, the public is going to rise up. You're killing their family members, you're killing their relatives, you're killing their city members, you're killing their country members, you're destroying the infrastructure of that country, you're bombing it, you're ruining their environment, and then you think they will stand with you. I mean, you have to be profoundly stupid to think that there will be a lot of militias. Yes, the government could fragment and there could be civil war inside Iran as a result of this. So what can the US do? It will be Iraq all over again. The US, I think, will, if the US sends in like 400,000 troops. Netanyahu is demanding that, and you know what American presidents and American political leaders do. Every time Netanyahu says jump, all they say is, how high, sir? And he's going to say, jump into Iran, and they're going to say, sure, and they're going to go in. That's why they need $200 billion, I think. If they go in, the best case scenario for them would be to capture the city of Tehran and install this stupid Pahlavi, this clown, this Israeli puppet, as the mayor of Tehran. He's not going to govern all of Iran. And there will be insurgencies and gangs all around Iran, going around like Iraq, fighting Americans. Who knows, even ISIS and Al Qaeda from Afghanistan might come back to Iran to kill American soldiers because you will be putting them in the harm's way. Iran would love this, would love to have a few thousand Americans in their border. Right now, they're trying to hit them in other places. But once they land, they'll say, wow, welcome, come on here. So that is the worst case scenario. And I think that is going to be a never ending war because there, Donald Trump then cannot declare victory and walk out. Because once he lands troops, he's committed to regime change. And if he's not able to bring that out, then he can't say, oh, I won. No, that's no, even the stupid supporters of his in MAGA who are completely brain dead, even now they support him without realizing that this is not a war for American interests, that this is a war for a foreign country's interests. Even they, these stupid MAGA voters who still haven't got it, that there was absolutely no threat to the United States, yet it went to war. Even the people in Trump's administration are saying that. Tulsi Gabbard said that very clearly, many times over. She's being very clever. She's not saying that it's my assessment that Iran was presenting a threat. She said this is the president's assessment, and she's putting the blame on Trump. And the manner in which she's saying it is actually also massaging Trump's ego. But Joe Kent, the director of National Counterterrorism Center, who resigned about 2 days ago, he says very clearly that there was no imminent threat to the United States. We are doing this war under Israeli pressure and the pressure of the Israeli lobby. So at some point, some MAGA people have already got it. Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, and others. Steve Bannon, I think, is also saying this thing. I can't stand a lot of them, so I don't watch all their shows. But I do watch snippets, and so I can see that they are all beginning to get it, that this is completely being done under pressure from Israel. This is how US Middle East policy has been for the last 20, 30 years, even during the time of Clinton. Since George H. Bush lost the election in 1992, the Israeli lobby has completely dominated the American foreign policy in the Middle East. It's been dictated from Tel Aviv and not from the State Department or the White House. So these are the four scenarios that I see, and we'll see what will eventually happen. What we are seeing right now is the third scenario. Regional war expansion is probably where we are most likely. And if you go to this fourth one, ground invasion and occupation, then it's going to be really, really bad. So this is the briefing that I wanted to give you. I just want to reiterate for those of you who joined us late that today is Eid, so Eid Mubarak to all of you. And the best way to celebrate Eid is to publish 2 articles on the same day. I published this article in the Diplomat, Silence Can Be an Epic Folly. This is a response to a sycophantic article by Shashi Tharoor of the Indian National Congress, sucking up to Modi and the BJP. And then, of course, this article on which this show is based, called Gaming the Endgame, Possible Scenarios in the Iran War. So, and I also gave you the update. Donald Trump's administration, the Department of Defense, is requesting $200 billion from the Department of Defense. They are saying this is to avoid killing bad guys requires a lot of money. Plus, they are also desperate to, I guess, replenish all the lost munitions, the shortage of I guess, interceptors, etc., that the United States is beginning to feel, not just the US, but all its allies in the region. It is quite possible that the United States might pressure some other countries to get into action because the US is running out of munitions. So I don't see anybody other than United Kingdom getting into this war. Yes, the Arab countries could if they begin to have a lot of damage. But I mean, attacking Iran is one thing, being unable to defend yourself. By now, the Arab countries have realized that the US is not defending them at all. In fact, being aligned with the United States is the reason why they are in this big trouble. Uh, and uh, and this is an Iran which was so diminished by sanctions for the decades of sanctions by the US, crippling sanctions, and it's still standing up to the US and Israel, two of the most powerful countries in the world. Is absolutely unbelievable. It is not just a reflection of the resilience of the Iranians, it is also a reflection of the stupidity of the Trump administration. Anyway, thank you for watching Conversations. If you've not subscribed to the channel already, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, press the bell icon, and don't forget to share this video with your socio-political network. For those of you who are watching from India, I'll be coming back in another half an hour to talk about an entirely different issue. An American mercenary and 6 Ukrainian mercenaries were captured, you could say, or arrested in India and detained, and they have been training people in Myanmar. And I'm going to talk about the policy implications of that, the geopolitical meaning of that, and I have some interesting suggestions to make. So I'll be doing all of that in the Hindi update that I will be giving you. That will be at 11 p.m. America time, and that would be 8:30 a.m. India time. And if there are some interesting questions or comments, I'll be happy to read those comments and respond to those questions now. Manish, Eid Mubarak to you too. Thank you. Uh, Thank you very much for interesting comments. Yeah, India is all about Durandar. They're just like India is into. There's a movie there which makes India look like a major world power, makes Raw look very sophisticated. In reality, it's the opposite. Many of Raw's operations have failed. Operation Sindoor was not as successful as India wanted to. India had been threatening to take Gilgit-Baltistan from Pakistan at its first opportunity. So they got an opportunity. They had a war. They could have taken Azad Kashmir, or POK as it's called in India, and but various other territories that Pakistan occupied, but they did nothing. So in reality, India is not able to achieve any major geopolitical or military victories. So they are kind of, the whole country is going on a wet dream by watching this movie Dhurandhar, which is extremely violent and makes Pakistanis look very bad and Indians look very great, especially India's intelligence agency. Even though I did a review of Dhurandhar 1, take a look at it, in which I was surprised to see it appears that the weapons used by terrorists on the Mumbai attack were provided by an agent of Raw. So that's the kind of narrative. It also showed how stupid the agents, Indian intelligence was at it, even though they were given a date when the Mumbai attacks were going to happen. Just because the terrorists changed the date, they relaxed, and so they failed to defend an attack. So actually, Dhurendra makes Pakistanis look very violent. It makes Indians look very incompetent. But still, the movie was successful, and apparently, India is right now gripped in a patriotic and nationalistic fever. And since they are not getting this, in reality, the Prime Minister Indian Modi's become mum. He's not able to open his mouth. He's so scared of Donald Trump. So whatever Trump does, he has abandoned all principles of his own. He doesn't even say things he said 2 years ago, like this is not an era of war. For him, this is an era of shut up and don't challenge Donald Trump. So in reality, India surrendered. They call the Prime Minister of India now Narendra surrender. That is India's reality. So because Narendra surrenders, Dhurendra shines. So in fiction, India is shining. So that's the thing with the movie Dhurendra and its obsession in India. Anyway, there is, of course, Akhil Sheikh. Welcome. What is the deal with Benjamin Netanyahu? Some people say he's dead and injured. Not really. Uh, it would have been out. There would have been transition. Iranians acknowledged immediately that Khamenei was dead, Larijani was dead, and they moved on to the next. So most countries would do that. If he died, there would be a funeral. Probably Trump would travel. A lot of American leaders would go to pay homage to the dead Netanyahu. So there would be a big show, and Israel would try to gain sympathy, etc. Anyway, so there aren't any more questions. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in half an hour in a different language on a different topic. Bye.